in this moment, what I've done is I've sent out a call to action. But tonight I'm going to flip that script a little bit. And instead, the Black Review team has actually pulled some questions and let you send out the call. Some of the issues that you've been surfacing all week. So let's just go through, I know, just a few of them, but here's the first one. The first question is, what are some of the questions that we ought to be asking ourselves when we're consuming news in order to make sure that it is written and produced in a way that empowers Black communities? I love this question. So here are some suggestions. First, who made this story? Who thought it up? Who created it? Who decided that it would be in the news? And what are the incentives of those who did so? Are you listening to or watching a news source that is brought to you by a source that has a profit motivation for you to be afraid, for you to be angry, for you to be confused? Or are you listening and watching something that has an incentive and benefits when you feel empowered and when you feel activated? Here's another set of questions. How does the source talk about Black people? Do the words and descriptions and ideas that the source is using to talk about Black people fit with your own experience of Blackness? Does the source describe Black life experiences that resonate with your own? Or are you like, I've never met that Black person? You see, if there's only one point of view that is presented and that point of view is completely alien to you, then you want to start asking some questions. Now, I don't mean false equivalency of like, oh, there's two sides to this issue. What I mean is if folks are talking about Black people are all kinds of different things. So is the source giving you truly diverse viewpoints? Are you hearing from Black men and Black women? From Black elders and Black youth? Are you hearing from Black folks who live in cities and Black people who live out in the country and like to farm? Are you hearing from queer and straight Black folks? Are you hearing from just one or two Black voices? And are those voices speaking to you? Or do they seem to be trying to decode you for white folks? Do you agree with everything that's being said? If so, watch out. If you agree with nothing that is being said, watch out. Did you learn anything new? If the answer is no, watch out. You see, a good story, a strong source should teach you and should challenge you. It should resonate with you, but it shouldn't confirm your every single belief. Good news should make you grow. I'll tell the truth. I've been eating a lot of my kids' Halloween candy, a lot of it. And when you eat too much candy, you know, it's fun at the time, but then pretty soon you start to feel queasy after consuming too much. That's the same as bad media. But think of how you feel after some healthy exercise. It might be challenging while you're doing it, but you can feel yourself growing stronger for having taken part. And that is how valuable media should make you feel. Okay, second question from y'all. As this election comes to a close, you've asked, how do we make sure that people, especially white people, stay focused on fighting for structural change? Here's a little piece of advice I will give you and pass on. You can't control what white people, not even white allies, are going to do. In fact, even within Black communities, it's pretty difficult to sustain courageous, self-sacrificial activism that seeks to change deeply embedded structures because those systems are actually created to defeat these kinds of movements. And those systems have a lot of practice. So our job isn't to change what other folks are doing. Our job is to do the best we can for as long as we can with as much as we can, with honesty and with commitment and with an acknowledgement that there are going to be defeats along the path to victory and that setbacks don't mean the struggle's over. I strongly encourage you not to try to struggle alone. Join existing organizations. Join one maybe that's nascent, that's beginning, but don't try to do it alone. Partner at the local and at the national level. And I'll tell you this, the greatest gift my father ever gave me, he gave me every single year in my birthday card. And no, I don't mean that he always gives you the same number of dollars that is your birthday. So like if you're 5, you get $5, 21, $21, 47. Literally, my father sent me $47. But that isn't the good gift. The good gift is how he always signed every birthday card. Not love daddy. He signed the card, the struggle continues, daddy. And it's just so helpful for me because it is such a reminder that the struggle went on before me. It will go on after me, but my job is to run my part of the relay while I have the opportunity. Now, the third and final question tonight is a tough and very personal one. As we're living through this pandemic, you ask, what advice do you have for young teens and children and their caregivers at this moment, given its impact on the Black community? Listen, I was talking with the Color of Change team just before we went live tonight, and my own daughter, my youngest, my 6-year-old, is upstairs right now with a slight fever, with a very runny nose, with, I've been a parent more than 18 years, and she has the kinds of, it's November symptoms that I never would have called a doctor about before. I never would have worried about. We'd have had a little Tylenol, we'd have had a little Tussin, and it would have been a maybe sleepless night, but everyone would be fine in the morning. But I'm terrified. Of course I'm terrified. Who isn't terrified now when there's a fever? Who isn't stressed when there's a cough? So the first thing I want to say is we have to acknowledge the trauma that we're feeling, that our children are feeling. My daughter's 6. She doesn't understand everything, but she does know there's a thing called coronavirus. She knows it because it's the reason we wear the mask. It's the reason we wash our hands. She said to me earlier today, I don't know when this coronavirus is going to go away. When are these germs going to go away? So my first really biggest piece of advice goes all the way back to the beginning of this conversation. Be in conversation. Create your home as a space where you and the young people with whom you are caregiving can talk about how you feel. Second, do wash your hands as much as you can. Get the good lotion. Third, wear the mask. Wear it, for kids, try to make it into a game. For teens, try to make it into fashion. But you just have to wear the mask. It does make a difference. And then I'll say, try to create rituals to connect beyond the household, both with your extended family, whether it is, Sunday brunch on the Zoom. It doesn't have to be every Sunday, but try it every other Sunday. And with your community. Again, if you can't go back to your house of worship because of COVID, see if you can find your house of worship online. If your kids aren't in school, see if you can create a learning community that's not just the Zoom, but maybe a pod with 2 or 3 kids, and make sure that you ask for resources. We're gonna have to save ourselves here. And so we're gonna have to get creative and stay in conversation and be willing to say that sometimes it really is quite scary. Also, check out the COVID-19 resources for yourself and your loved ones on the Color of Change website at theblackresponse.org.